Hello and welcome to another session of Godbound. This is an OSR inspired game by Kevin Crawford. His most recent fantasy OSR game, Worlds Without Number, is out now in PDF. It's got a lot of really interesting tools. I like Godbound better, but there's a lot of good resources in the book, and it's beautifully done. And like all of Kevin Crawford's books are worth picking up as resources and tools for any kind of gaming that you do. This session is part of the Gauntlet Gaming Calendar. This is an online gaming club / community, and we have a bunch of games on the calendar each month, around 100 or so, a bunch of different GMs, a bunch of different systems. You can find out how you could possibly play with us by checking out gauntlet-rpg.com. That gives you information on the games that we play, links to our actual play pages, also information on our blog, Codex, which is our magazine, and our variety of podcasts. So we've got a lot of irons in the fire. As well, we're the publishers of Hearts of Wulin, which is a PBTA game, which has nothing to do with this, but given that I designed it, maybe I'll just mention that it's out in PDF on Drive-Thru-RPG. Maybe check that out. In any case, we are returning to our characters. I'm not going to go through introductions. I think we have a sense of who each other are at this point. We'll take a look at the lines and veils, just to remind us on that. Hard lines on dental horror, harm to children, homophobia, as well as sexual assault, veils for eye injuries, harm to animals, suicide and torture. And then we've got some ask firsts about epidemics, mind control, PC betrayal, and sexual content. So those are on the table for us. And that's our baseline of what we're playing with. Now, last time, our characters escaped from Lansena, managed to make their way away from that city and escape a significantly dangerous foe that nearly did at least one of them in. But they got out of the way. They also caused problems for that villain's plots in the city, and they rescued a young girl that they had headed into to save. So successes all around. And they fled southwards, taking with them a scholar, as well as this young woman. And they have determined that they would like to do some researches, maybe look into some things, see that they can find some things out. And the best place to do that is at Bashala, which is the Assassin's Library. And that is where the group is headed at this moment. But let's check on what people have chosen for their advances. We did all the calculated stuff. So base attack, bonus, armor class, those things should be auto-calculated on up. Patrick, you got 2 points to spend. A big word is 2 points. A little word is 1 point. Or sorry, a little gift is 1 point. Have you thought about what you might want? Or are you still like, I got to think on this?
I have thought a lot about what I want. I think I'm going to take 2 lesser gifts this time.
Interesting.
Looking at the other words, I feel like endurance is the sort of stamina gift word.
Yeah.
I feel like that would fit a lot with my character and the sort of thought I have of like being the thing that people want to run away from or attack. But I don't know. There are some other gifts I want to pick up first to complete what I think I want to be. I'm just worried that the 2-level investment it would take to get to another word would be difficult at waiting for levels 3 and 4.
Yeah, I will say, in my experience, if you really think you're going to be taking another word, take it early, because that's when you're going to be having that higher rate of advancement. But you can also sit on those gifts. You don't have to take them right away. It's the experience that actually Dan and I had in the last game was we kind of compressed it. So we were really kind of running through levels fast. And then you're like, I've got too many words. I've got too many gifts. I don't know what I should do. So it's not bad to soft pedal that a little.
But I really want the 10,000 skins gift from shapeshifting, which lets me change into animals and creatures.
Ooh, that would be nice.
Broaden the range of fearful things I can change into.
Is that a lesser?
That is a lesser.
Then what you could do is take that and then sit on the other lesser gift, and then next level when you go up and get 2 points, you could then spend to get a new word.
Yeah, let me do that for now.
Yeah,
Think
about that.
If I really feel called to take that other gift, then in the meantime, then I will. But
have you thought about what you want for your new fact?
I haven't even finished my old facts.
Okay, so just to kind of highlight that you have a fact to fill in, and that the intent is that it should be kind of based around the adventure that you just had. All right, Threadless.
Yes, I'm planning to buy a new word. So I have, if I need one, a lesser word back in my back pocket. If not, I will save it and go to get, how should we say? I will go and just buy a lesser word out of my new word.
Sure. What about facts?
Yeah, it's one of the things that I had actually written one of my facts from the stuff I did last time. So I guess I could write another one. Yeah, probably because I've done a lot of things where I'm using the things that my other fellows, their specialties, like incorporating their specialties into things, something like that, something about that. I'll come up with some snappy wording for it. Just move on.
Absolutely. That sounds good to me. What about Professor Vedra?
I took another gift called Master of the Key, which is I can instantly defeat any mundane trap, lock, tie, binding, or seal. And now I'm thinking about, I'm not super enamored with any of the other lesser gifts in my words.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering, can I spend a point on a universal gift?
Oh, you mean the
like specifically, I think Corona of Fury. These are the ones they're on page 29. They are sort of like generic gifts. I don't know if they cost the same as the others.
I took one at creation.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe the words of creation you can let's see the list of most common words found in the Godbound.
Yeah, and actually at the top of the second column it says they're all lesser gifts.
Yeah. So yeah, you could take words of creation.
So I'm going to take Corona of Fury, which is I think my first offensive spell.
Yeah. And it's a D8 of damage for every 2 levels. And it's a smite, which means you can do it every other round.
Yep. And facts, I don't have. Yeah, I'm way behind on my facts. I did add one that gives me a connection to libraries and bookstores from my relationship. One. And I'm thinking about adding a fact related to sort of like observing the behavior of guards, because I feel like we spent a lot of time like watching the guards to make sure that we were not going to get caught by them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that seems perfectly fair.
It was like a sociological study.
I gotta do your thesis.
When I set up my
That-
demands, I'll also have you design my guards, rotations. So there you go. You could be a consultant.
That reminds me, Lowell, are we playing around with the apotheosis track?
You are welcome to take things from the apotheosis track. Yes.
Okay, because the way the book sets it up is that, like, unless by default you get those, like,
Right, and per level. So right now,
Yeah.
you have, I believe, the incense of faith is the one that you have right now, because you get that at second level. Essentially means you're capable of getting worship from mortal believers, and if you want, you can start forming your own cult.
Cool.
Yeah, and I think the level descriptor is in the text of each of those. Yeah, so they're not bought as you point out, not as lesser or greater gifts. They're just a level based bonus. Which brings us to Ransom.
Indeed. I have picked up 2 gifts. I picked up Apex of the Flock because I was using it so often off of just miracles. That's the one that lets me communicate telepathically with birds that I've seen. Can talk to them pretty much anywhere and share their senses, which is cool. And then I picked up my first thiefy one, which I really like this one, Up Your Sleeve. As an instant action, I can conceal a held or touch object no larger than a cart or team. I can conceal no more than 1 object per Godbound level. No search can discover these objects. If it's a person, they'll be held in stasis while they're concealed. They have to be willing targets or normal animals. So theoretically now I could take 2 of y'all into a hidden dimension and fly around with you.
Delightful. Yes, that's a good one.
I think it's cool. I admit facts have been one of the things I kind of struggled on the most thus far. I feel like I feel very narrow in the ones I've chosen. I tried to spread them out a little bit more. Like I rewrote my relationship one because it seemed very set, just all very samey. But I do have 3 down. I haven't picked the new one yet. I'll have to think on it more.
Yeah.
And I was wanting to ask,
Yeah.
with this new influence, I would like to do an influence, if this is possible, to invest in Captain Cookie, to try to make him a smarter bird.
Absolutely. You can absolutely do that. That is your word. So you can invest that in there without having to spend Dominion, and by using the nature of your fact. How smart do you want this bird to be?
I saw on the limits that it's rather hard to make them human intelligence.
Right.
But I think it also was talking on like these big scales, like a whole village. So I'm wondering, if I'm doing just one, can I make him, not a particularly clever person, but up there relatively, human-ish, especially since, like with my communications with birds, they're able to respond at the intelligence of a person.
Yeah, I think we can lean towards that, with the understanding that it's about your interaction with them, that they may not be able to communicate that same level or skill or intelligence with people that aren't you.
Right.
Does that seem fair?
So Cookie, because he can talk, how bright do you think would be an investment talk? Could he carry on a conversation with someone else? Does he have independent thought sufficient to like tell people things like, oh my goodness, Ransom's down the well?
I think that level of sort of beast mastery smart is certainly, without having to spend beyond that influence is reliable. He couldn't write a dissertation. He certainly would never be called a scholar in the presence of Professor Evedro. But
Who is?
But we can play around with the level of that.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you very much. I like the influence stuff. I think it's cool. And might try and play a little more with that as we go along. I might try and invest the crew at some point as well.
So we take up, yes.
So just real quick, I wanted to say that reminded me with influence. I wanted to invest it in Delak and Dala, the siblings, which I think as a starting investment, it would be my night word. And I think I'm like taking them exploring through the dream worlds. You know, eventually they'll sort of pick up enough that they can like lucid dream and skip through some dream worlds on their own without me. But for now, I'm sort of like leading them through different places when they sleep.
And I think we can say that is relieving them of fears. That the basic effect of that is to strengthen their ability to deal with the unusual, the uncanny, all of those, and building their willpower up. Does that seem fair?
Yeah, totally.
So we will see the group of you with our Captain Ransom's ship sailing into Bashala. And recall, this is like a port city that is in that big strait that runs kind of almost down the middle of the continental island maps there. When you approach Bashala, there are some reefs and markers that you are familiar with, Captain Ransom. And then as you approach, you will see that there are a couple of features that will come into visibility here. One is that Bashala itself, you will see that there are some ships that are clearly like wrecked and moored, that there are 3 or 4 of those that kind of serve some frames. But then there's a whole bunch of wood and raised houses and buildings. So there are just these massive spans of sort of loose wooden planked areas, but some houses that are actually built up solidly there that kind of form a barrier around it. It goes up onto the land, and you can see that there's a river that runs inland from there to the island that is attached to it. It's kind of humid through here. You'll see that there are people going on walkways across the different segments of this wooden city. You'll see ropes, you'll see nets. You'll also see people in canoes, effectively, because they're actually stacked. So you might actually have a thing that's like really close to the water as a building, and then there's another building up on top of that, and so on. It feels a little haphazard. The other thing that you'll notice as you are kind of coming in and looking at where to dock is that inside sort of the borderlands of the city structure, you will see that there are crocodiles swimming around, very big crocodiles that are swimming around. And it must be, they don't seem to go outside of sort of the bounds of the city. They do seem to go up into the river, but they do kind of go around. And you will see the people who are paddling around are ignoring them, and they seem to be ignoring the people there. But beyond this, you can make out that there's kind of a large mountainous area once you get kind of inland a little bit. And it looks like the river goes deep inland, kind of jungle river inwards. But there is another set of steps and stone steps that go at a very kind of up and then sharp angle upwards. When you kind of look at that, it looks like they have some mechanisms for using like flat ways along the side of those steps to draw goods up, because once you go up a couple of these stone levels, you can see that there is this massive, massive castle at the top. This is the library. That is the library of the assassins. It's a long ways up to there, but it is a massive, it's the size of a small city. And the architecture is varied. In fact, in some places, it almost looks like somebody like took a section and just kind of dropped it in from somewhere else. There's that weird look to it where the doesn't quite match. Nothing quite fits exactly together. The age is clearly different, but it's a long way up there, and it's a huge, huge place. But you can bring your ship in, and you will see the marks and markings of various pirate vessels and merchants and things like that as you pull into Bashala. So, Captain, what is it you think you have to do first in this kind of situation? You know that this is a public trading place, but it's also, you've got these pirates that use it for trade points.
I think that first off, you have to make the harbor master aware you're there and make the deal that will mean you're safe.
So you'll see there will be a harbor person who will sail up to where you're at and will say, permission to come aboard.
Permission granted.
And he will haul himself up onto the ship, and you see him look around, and he says, my name is Hosk.
A pleasure to meet you. I'm Ransom.
Evedra, what time is it? Like, you tell me, what time do you think the ship has pulled in here? Are you in day, Evedra, or night, or Devi?
I feel like I want to do a little bit more Devi today. I'm not
Okay.
quite so crass, so maybe it's dusk.
Yeah. So just getting into that change. Hosk will say, I have a berth ready for you, Captain. There was, of course, a surcharge. We ask, you are a freebooter rather than a privateer?
Indeed, yes.
For freebooters, we ask a small payment of guarantee, a payment of surety that will be returned to you with a tenth taken to cover. Does that seem reasonable?
It does seem reasonable, but Lowell, we don't have any money, do we?
Not exactly.
That is perfectly reasonable. However, I must say that we are a little short of liquid capital at the moment. We intend to trade the library here. We have on board book beetles, yes, that we intend to trade with the
that is all the good. What I will do is I will write a script for the price that will be owed for this, and I will go and speak to the library trade agent and have them come down tomorrow and look over your goods, and those arrangements can be made. So there is no worry on that if you have trade goods and so on. As a freebooter, again, you don't have the guarantee of a particular nation to back you up, which is why we take these steps. So I hope you.
It's perfectly reasonable.
Of course, obviously, we ask for no raiding against ourselves or against the mainland of Gesna. They are the ones who supply us with food and so on, and so we would ask that you leave them off whatever.
Oh heavens, no, no, no.
And lastly, I must ask you this. There are no cats aboard your ship, are there?
Birds.
There, no cats. No, no.
Good, good. Then fine. Then you may come and disembark here, and he will point over to a lesser dock, and he will say, "I think we have 3 other captains in town now, though larger ships than your own," he says. And he says, "My office is in the blue painted house up on the 3rd tier. If you need anything, simply ask for Hosk, and I will come and I will send myself or one of my children to see to your needs."
Much appreciated, sir. I appreciate this hospitality here.
Will you be needing guards for your trade goods, or will you be putting people on watch? There is a surcharge for the guards, I will say that.
Yeah, of course there is. I like to feel like my crew is, I mean, I am a god of mariners. I like to feel like my crew is fairly loyal.
Yeah.
So
if you tell them they're not going to be at liberty for a little bit.
I'm going to set a rotation is the idea, so we always have someone on ship.
Okay. Sure.
We'll have Mr. Butters set up a rotation for everyone to get their chances, but at the same time,
I am an expert at the rota, sir. Very, sir. Yes, I will get that set.
Very good, Butters.
He sometimes consults with Cookie on that now.
I think as Hosk is leaving, Tassos is just like watching him the whole way with their eyes. And there's just this shot that it must be a trick of the light or something, but Hosk could almost swear for a moment that Tassos' eyes are like slitted and feline in a way as he like licks a lip. But that's, I mean, it passes, the moment passes, and it's just a trick of the light, surely.
And it's a weird thing, like maybe he catches it, but he doesn't quite jump at that. Like cat people don't, like the idea of that doesn't seem to bother him.
Oh, don't worry. We're just started exploring this weird little quirk.
Absolutely. So you will tie off. It is early evening. We pulled in here at dusk. All of you can disembark. Of course, Tintefa's like, and so when are we going to the library? Where are we just going? Can we just go up there now? Right? That's what we're doing, right? Going straight up there.
Well, friends, what do we want to do?
We want to go to the library at some point.
We
What
have
else do you
excellent
do?
cover.
Mhm.
Just by selling our cargo, we really could use the money, and B, it is a very good reason to go and visit.
Do we need cover to go to the library?
Well, it is entree, which, you know, assassins aren't known for being welcoming.
Well, maybe these assassins are different.
Perhaps.
We're not going to just bypass this entire town, surely. It smells intriguing.
Ransom, have you been to this town before? These seem like your types of people.
I've visited here a time or two over my years.
And you remember that cat thing, like, and you're like, oh yeah, that's that weird thing.
The thing.
Yeah, and, I personally am not fond of cats either. They are truly devastating to the songbird population. But
Perhaps the assassins are songbird fans.
Well, Ransom, where's the best place to get a cup of coffee around here? I would love to sample the local cafe and maybe see what kind of pastries they have.
I'll admit this is more of a grog and pie sort of town than
Surely.
a cafe and pastry.
Really? None of these places? I mean, I'll take grog. I just want to sample the local life.
Well, I know of a pretty good inn where, at the very least, you won't be robbed in the night, and the food is affordable and tasty.
That sounds great. I mean, unless we are in a rush to get to the library, but the Beetle books will be there in the morning.
Yes,
So
let's hope so.
You will disembark. You set a guard. You set a watchman to watch over that, and do you head into town? You can tell here on the sort of the areas that's a little bit closer to the docklands. You can tell that there are several pirate ships that are disembarked. There's trade negotiations going on. Some like trade agents talking with bosuns about the particular goods that are being shipped around and things like that. But you can see that several of the local inns are well lit, and you can hear the singing that's going on in those. And you can tell just by the markings, two of the vessels are privateers, in the sense that they are a national ship. They come from a particular place. They're sent out as raiders. But the third one seems to be, doesn't have any of those national markings, which tells them, and like you, they're kind of a more hard scrabble crew put together.
We don't see any Lancena flags, do we?
No.
Good.
So do you want to head to one of the loud and boisterous inns, or would you like to head into a chance for you to maybe relax and gather yourselves before you face the other crews? What do you think, Ransom?
It seemed like the majority of folks wanted to get a real taste of the flavor of the city, so I think that going towards where a shanty is being played and the fiddle being scrawled upon and all that.
Strong Southern accents to the singing that you hear as you're go into this place. One of the things you notice kind of as you're going along the docks, that as you and your companions are walking, that there are a couple of crocodiles that do pace you, like in the water alongside. Don't make any hostile things. They don't look like they can get up here, but they sort of pace you, like if you were to fall in, they would be awaiting you, that kind of thing.
Like we're not protected?
That would be yes.
Hmm.
But you will go in and, throw open the swinging doors. Sherry, what's the name of this tavern?
Oh, God. How about the Fettered Rat?
The fetid rat, or the
No,
fettered
Fettered.
rat. So there is a rat in chains on it. He's like between two like legs of a stool, sort of like Samson, where he's going to pull the stool down and bring the chair down with him. And you come in, and there's definitely a tailing off of the singing as everybody looks, because you're a substantial group of people, clearly outsiders, clearly foreigners. And there's that sort of hush because you look like a pirate, Ransom. The others, much less so. And the bartender will shout, "Free tables over in the corner. Newcomers, go and sit. And I'll have Molly come by, see what you need."
Thank you much.
Everyone, like it like the captain of the group kind of like does gesture to settle down, and everyone gets quiet, and they watch all of you go over towards the corner.
I'll give a glare about here and there as it may be needed, but they hardly know how dangerous the rest of my people are. I am the least dangerous person they're likely to encounter of the four of us.
Or Debbie, what's your reaction to this weird change and somewhat hostile environment that you walk into here?
Or Debbie is all curiosity all the time. So where maybe anybody else except Evedro would look around and kind of feel the vibe, or Debbie is just staring right back at everyone, starting to pull out his journal to make notes as to what's going on, how people are dressed, the things they're eating, things like that. Like as they're walking to the table, he's leaning over tables and looking at, what's going on, the games they're playing, things like that. You're muted.
And what about you, Threadless? We see, or Devi observing, taking notes.
I think she's very wide-eyed. I mean, she really is kind of just out of the swamps in some ways. She has lovely clothing on. Don't get me wrong, though. The fabrics that she wears are unparalleled and beautiful.
Which is a massive sign of wealth. So yes. What they see is a young, naive woman dressed in immense riches.
Yes. Yes, of course. That seems perfectly fine. I have no sense of this.
You're some kind of princess.
And also a striking bow.
Some kind of wild princess. I don't know. Barbarian princess? I don't know. Mutter. And Tassos, what about you?
I think Tassos is similarly staring around at people, sort of like, or Devi is, but obviously not so crass as to take notes. They have like a hat on, their face is very much in shadow. Their eyes keep seeming to catch the firelight. I'm looking around, I'm just sort of tasting the people around here, but is there anybody that has fears particularly related to cats?
No.
Weird.
No, not a sense of that. No.
Tassos, by the time we sit down at the table and they're sort of looking around, we'll get a sort of consternated, like, look on their face.
The young woman comes over and takes your order. What do you have, sirs? We've got a heavy tea if you're not drinking. We've got a good grog if you're drinking, and we've got some meat pies still up, fairly warm.
Do you have any coffee from beans grown in Kajafir's jungles? I only drink coffee made with beans from Kajafir.
Well, then you're in luck because we don't have any of that, so you don't have to worry. But we do have heavy tea.
And can you tell me what the blend of the leaves is in the tea?
No, sir. I don't think I could.
Oh,
we buy it in bulk.
Maybe seaweed. You know what? I will try. You know what? I'm here to learn. I would love to try your tea.
And for the rest of you, I'm hoping you're not so persnickety.
I would like tea and a meat pie.
Okay. And you, shadowy one?
Grog. Grog, yes. Grog.
All right. And you, I'm guessing, Captain?
Yeah, I'll take grog and a pie, please.
Absolutely. Do you have a ship's chit?
Yes.
Then show me and I'll mark it against your ship if you wish.
Thank you much. And I will display.
And she'll knock it, she takes a good piece and knocks that, and she goes away and she comes back with these mugs, great mugs of grog that are foamy, and it slams them down, and yet even though they're foamy, they don't like splash because they're super heavy. And then she hands these enormous Super Bowl-like cups of tea to you, which also seem a little more viscous than you would expect for tea.
But it's heavy tea, so.
Yeah.
But they lack in quality. They make up for in quantity.
The heavy tea seems to be heavy because it's about 30 to 40% honey.
Delicious. Who needs jam if you have this tea?
And the pies are fish pies here, and they'll bring that, so relatively fresh caught on those, and they'll bring that out. And after a few minutes, the woman comes over again, and she has with her a smaller stein of some sort of liquor, and she says, Captain, the captain over there sends over this cup with his regards.
I look over. Do I recognize the captain?
No, she goes, that's Captain Rutel.
Captain Rudel, please convey my thanks, and I will kind of nod my head and tip my hat towards him.
She puts it down and she says, if I were you, I'd drink slowly.
Thank you.
And then steps away, and you see this captain. I have a picture of him in the NPCs thing, and I can screen share too. So there is Rudel of Arwen Shah.
Ooh,
Stop sharing.
handsome chap.
And yeah, when you sip it, it's a peppery liquor. Like, it's clearly made with pepper and liquor. And it's got that spice, and it's a strong thing.
I'll take a solid drink. I fear no liquors.
That's right. I think you have something to deal with that, don't you?
Oh yeah. I have body of water.
Do you like take it down to demonstrate your?
I think I will. Take a sip and kind of give it the appraising, and then give a good slam back.
And there's a whoa, opa from the other part of the room there. And the he will laugh, and he waits a minute, clearly making sure you're not going to fall over, and then he will laugh and he will say, well played, Captain.
I pull the stein over and think, well, since Ransom could do it, I'm gonna take a swig now, because I'm naturally curious about everything that's going on.
Do be careful, my friend.
Why?
It is quite strong if you're not used to such spirits.
Okay, and I just put it down and slide back.
You should at least taste it, though. Curiosity.
I believe what will happen is I take a sip and then I dip my face into the tea.
Yeah, it's a little spicy,
yeah.
And then it becomes a lot spicy.
Yeah.
Along, like the liquor and spice kind of enhances that hit in the back of your throat when you finally start coughing. So Threadless, people are staring at you. People are talking. They're starting to sing again. You've eaten this fairly decent fish pie. You haven't had real pastry for a bit.
This is actually kind of flaky.
So what do you want to do? What are you looking for? What are you checking out?
Let's see here. Well, I guess I'm looking at other people's clothes, right?
Yeah. So you definitely
these
see
are people on this scene, so I'm like looking to see like what kind of stuff are they wearing. So in case I have to make things, what would be more appropriate? I have a sense that these are Ransom's people, and so it's that I don't want to embarrass Ransom.
It looks like orange and cotton thread, various colors, seems to be very popular in the South. A lot of good work that you'll see, done with patterns there. Thinner cottons, some silk accents on that. Some interesting work where rather than like it being patterns, that the cloth is painted for particular patterns and things.
Like hand painted? Or
Yeah,
like
yeah.
stencil?
No, it looks like hand painted for some of the things. It looks like that maybe judging by the painting on the clothing of the people in the crew, that they maybe even have a person who is their seamstress on board who does that kind of thing as touch-ups.
Yes, I think I will. Yes, my eyes will definitely go back to that over and over again. And then I eventually, I think, I will stand up abruptly enough that my chair sort of falls back behind me when I do it. And I will stride over to someone who has a particularly remarkable, probably, I'm guessing like the back of their vest is painted.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say, exactly what purple dye is that is on the back of your vest?
And this it gets quiet because again, you're a striking, wealthy young woman who comes walking over and asks that, and like a couple of them go to say something, but they look at the captain, their captain, and stop, like they're not going to be rude to somebody who's in the company of a captain that's been given a measure of respect. And Rudel will say, I'm not sure that he could really answer that question for you.
And I sort of look and I say,
Mistress.
But it's a, and she sort of looks at him and she can't even understand why he couldn't answer it. She goes, how could you not know what the purple is?
Are you talking the dye of the cloth, or are you talking the paints?
The paints.
The paints are done by our own aboard, but she does not usually deign to step off the ship, so she's not here to answer your question. But certainly, if you're interested in it, perhaps you'd like to come and visit.
Yes, I would.
Well, and certainly, perhaps tomorrow, come and visit our ship, and I'll show you around and give you a chance to talk to our seamstress.
Which of the sails is yours? And she'll name the ones that were in that harbor. She's like memorized all of them.
And he's like, but the first you named.
Yes. I will be there. I will wait a half hour after dawn.
Well, then, I see. Everyone's kind of laughing because this is clearly not the reaction anyone expected from that. Tassos, what are you doing?
Still very vexed about the whole cat thing. We're going to have to put this to further tests later. But still looking around the room, is there anybody that smells particularly strong or interesting fear? Or alternately, is there anyone that's asleep, like having passed out at their table?
Oh yeah, I'm sure there are probably a couple of tradesmen who've come in here for some drinks and have crashed out, that are snoozing in the corner.
I spend a little while just like staring into their dreams and watching for a bit, just to get a feel for them.
They're very nervous. Coming here and doing the kind of trade they do, a lot of it involves coming from particular places, coming here and buying stolen goods or negotiating for the return of stolen goods on the behests of particular powerful figures who've had their stuff stolen. And it's a risky business. Like, it's a dangerous business to do. So they present themselves as sort of foolhardy and reckless, but they're on edge because this kind of negotiation and job could go so wrong so quickly.
I think Tassos sort of, he's about halfway through the cup of grog. He gets a little distracted on one of them and just spends a while like building up this scenario in this guy's dream of like one of the nastier, richer people that they've stolen from. They're tracking them down. Their agents are getting close, just like slowly ratcheting up that fear bit by bit as they go through the dream.
Oh yeah, you can definitely do that. Over in the corner. Eventually, the barmaid walks over and throws a great big spoonful of water in his face to wake him up. And she says, "Go back to your rooms. Don't be."
Tassos is entirely enthralled in this process.
Don't be screaming your vapors around in here. Go now. And all of you can drink and enjoy yourself. Ransom, is there anything else you want to get out of this interaction in the scene here?
Yeah, it is useful to have allies and friends, and this captain and his crew, I think, would be good for this. So I think, after having eaten my pie and all, you say there has been singing. Have they got like a piano player or a fiddler or something like that?
They essentially mostly percussion they have here.
All right.
Like some hand drums and sticks and that kind of thing.
All right. I think I'll kind of, giving this look, maybe feigning a little bit of enjoyment from my drinks, get another round of grog, and stand up and begin singing. And I'm going to commit some effort to do a Miracle of the Nightingale song.
Okay, and what does that do?
This is a bird, so it's something in my wheelhouse. The Godbound song, whether human or in avian form, is enchanting to listeners. One simple idea can be conveyed by the song, which can affect up to a large mob of listeners. Subjects will believe the idea or carry out to the limits of their natural character or personal well-being for the rest of the scene. Ideas that do not contradict observed evidence or natural inclinations will continue to be believed afterwards until proven incorrect. Lesser foes cannot resist. Worthy foes can make a spirit save to become immune for the scene. And what I'm going to begin singing is an old shanty, basically about ships that meet at sea and have that kind of, there is a phrase for it, where ships meet and they trade stuff back and forth and have a moment of friendship. And I'm really leaning into speaking up the worthiness of my fellow captain and building up, and the idea I'm conveying is we're friends. We're meeting here. It's a happy fortunate moment, and we're all friends here.
Absolutely. Yeah, you will do that. You will sing that song as soon as you kind of start the beat and count it out. You're working from some classic songs. The people with their instruments will pick up and start doing the beat and then improvising on that. You've got the chorus and repeat that you give to them, so they will cheer along as well. And I think everyone is going to be awake and happy and unfortunately unafraid for a little bit here, Tassos, with the positive vibes that go through the room. And this will go on for a while. And I think by the end of it, we could see that their captain, that Rudel is over, clapping you on the back, clapping you on the arm. Well, Matt, we are well, Matt. That is what these cities are about. A chance to meet and make friends and do well by one another. Huzzah, huzzah. Write that down, little scholar man. Write that down. Yeah, you will absolutely get this room and this crew on your side.
Excellent. And again, showing great respect to their captain and kind of moving about. and you know, and maybe even opening things up, kind of with a thought if Ardevi would like to find out more from them, they would be maybe a little more willing to chat up with him.
Or Debbie, do you want to try and wheedle any information here?
I like that. I wanted to ask, as with the word knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
are there miracles? Can I perform a miracle that kind of helps me understand what people in this room know? Like, and I'm sort of thinking about, does anyone, I'm not thinking about secrets so much, like, as I think that would take a gift, but maybe just, do they have knowledge beyond seafaring and pirating? Maybe about world events or things about the Assassin's Guild or things like that.
Well, they probably know the local customs and things like that, and they probably know the customs of other places that they call in at port. I think you can, I mean, without any kind of miracle, you can probably ascertain that. And of course, any good pirate crew will know some myths and legends about lost ruins and treasure places and dangerous spots. So, you know, they probably got a potpourri of interesting tales.
I guess, has anyone, I guess as I'm reaching out with my mind to kind of figure out what people know, I'm looking in their recent memories of anyone who's encountered anything weird or unusual, or weird or unusual.
Yeah, actually, and this is you. Are you going to commit an effort to draw forth some secret, or do you want to just make a roll to try and charisma it out of them?
No, Dan, the player, is interested in what does the character's knowledge word do for him. Yeah. So this is less chatting him up and just sort of reaching out with my mind to understand their knowledge. So I'll commit effort if that's.
Yeah. And I think it's that you kind of lace in a few keywords, secrets, mystery, that kind of thing. You just, in your conversation, let that reverberate through, and then use your word of knowledge to kind of almost like you're casting a line out,
right,
to see what you can pull back.
Right.
And I think that there are a couple of things that you will hear. One is that when they arrived, there was something going on with the crocodiles, and there was some kind of like ceremony or something, and they know that the crocodiles are important here, and that anybody who's not from the town that falls in the water gets eaten by them. But what they saw was somebody, like clearly an outsider, going down into the water and like talking with the crocodiles. And then two crocs leapt and grabbed each of his arms and then began swimming upriver. And what they heard is that there is a ancient ruin at the far upriver, up in the swamps the crocodiles have, because they're smart. They can talk and they're intelligent, but apparently there's an ancient site, and this guy was trying to make some kind of bargain to be allowed permission to go up to this old place. And certainly that did not go well for him. But he's heard that all of the sort of treasures the crocodiles have gathered, magical and mundane, are hidden away in this great big ziggurat at the headlands of the river. So that is one thing that you will hear. The other thing that you'll hear is that the last time they were here, they caught somebody trying to smuggle cats ashore. And they don't know what is up with that, but like it wasn't just that. The locals were upset that like when this went down, when this person got caught with these cats, like people came down from the Assassin's Library. And then that guy wasn't around, that guy's ship wasn't around after that.
Rocks and cats.
So it's odd.
This place must be run by mouse people or something.
No. This is what he tells you. It is said that there is another group of assassins that lives elsewhere in the islands. Upstarts, followers of a particular spirit, and they are killers, and they travel around the continent carrying out their tasks, and they are cats. Not cat people. Cats. Yeah, that's what I heard.
Well, this is very useful information. Do you know, are they in the same place as this ziggurat?
You mean the cats? Oh, yeah. Cats are from elsewhere. They've been trying to get here onto the island.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I heard is that they want to infiltrate the Assassin's Library.
Oh, to get all the knowledge of the assassins, which they can then use in their own cat assassination work.
That's what I heard.
I'm
sure it's 100% true.
How much grog have you had tonight?
All of it.
Yeah. None of these notes are good.
Let's take 10, and when we come back, we'll kind of move forward to the next day and what's going on then. Sound good? Me outering you. Thank you. So the next day, you suffer no hangover, Ransom, and the rest of you are fairly strong-willed, and so the tea or the grog doesn't really get to you. But Butters will wake you up, and he will say, "There's a trade agent from the library waiting for you on the docks."
They must have heard rumor of our cargo. It's not surprising. Thank you, Mr. Butters. Would you be so kind as to make sure that Threadless, Tassos, and the professor are also awake and aware?
Threadless is already awake and has headed down to go stand in front of that ship until they let her on.
Oh, that's right. She was going visiting our new friends. Well, I'm sure the professor and Tassos will be most interested. Are you a morning person, Tassos?
I mean, not in the sunlight and chipperness sort of way, no, but Tassos doesn't actually sleep.
Oh, that's right.
They spent most of the last night back on the ship, standing over the siblings and sort of creepily lurking around them, as in the dream world he led them on various adventures and fun time stuffs.
Yeah, not creepy at all.
No, it's totally normal. Just standing over the two kids, stock still, unmoving, eyes open, never blinking. It's fine.
That's fine. The bridge to Terabithia. Come on. And of course, Evedro, you wake up smelling of tavern house.
Disgusting.
Yeah. But when you're awoken, you go out. There is a gentleman there who is dressed rather plainly, and he will say, "You're Captain Ransom?"
Indeed, I am. And you are representing the library.
I am Master Hosk. Sent me a message that you had goods that the library might wish to purchase.
That's absolutely true. Yes, we bring book bugs.
Yes, I can smell them from here. Yes. Well, shall we have them down below in the hold?
Yes. Would you care to inspect them?
Please, if I may. He'll go down with you. He's clearly a skilled trade person. He checks, random selections of the boxes, checks how they're stored. And he say these are all in very good condition.
I'm glad to hear.
I usually expect at least a 10% loss on bugs in transport, but you seem to have lost very few.
We have a professor with us, a scholar, who is quite familiar with this particular species.
And he'll do you gesture at Evedro at that point?
Yes, I think Evedro is probably coming up, if that's good with you.
I'm standing over this guy, making sure he doesn't mess up the bugs.
Then I'll motion to the professor.
You're a scholar, a traveling scholar, or do you have a position?
In a manner of speaking, what is your experience handling this particular breed of book bug?
I have been trade representative for the library in these matters for the last 23 years. I have handled several dozen transactions involving bugs of this sort.
Only 23 years.
Okay. Only 23 years. Yes, I am a junior in this, he says.
So they sent their junior trade representative to deal with this. Clearly, you can see that we expect a higher caliber of trade. You know what? I'm wasting my time talking to you.
Professor, you'll have to pardon him. He is very devoted.
Ransom, I did not stay up all night with these bugs for a fortnight while we traveled here just to have 23 years of experience kill them upon arrival.
Clearly he recognized your skill, though. A compliment he even gave you, keeping all of them so intact.
You're the negotiator. I'm sure you know what you do.
In all honesty, the professor here was even wondering, I believe, weren't you, Evedro, if it's possible to visit the library?
I would love to visit the library if you or a more suitable guide would be available to show us around.
He says, well, that is a matter for another person other than I. I am the trade representative. He says, puts real emphasis on the trade representative for the library here in the port. But certainly scholars with the proper documentation and letters of reference are permitted out beyond the house of visitations into the library itself. I assume you have those, and if you do, then certainly it should be no problem for you to approach the gates and speak with the master of visitations. Scholars with those papers and that pedigree and their staff are permitted inside.
I go off to find Tintin.
Okay.
Because I have none of those things.
Yes. He will turn to you, Ransom. He say, it is no matter. Believe me, I am very familiar on dealing with scholars.
They are a special breed.
Yes.
And I will get into sort of negotiations on a decent price.
And he will say, these are important. These are in good shape. So I'll give you say 5% above market price.
That's pretty. Is that
Yeah,
good?
he's being generous. Like he could just offer you market price for these things,
Okay.
or force you or less and force you to move on. But he says if if your men can unload it by midday, so I can get them transported up.
I think there would be no problem with that. That is a very generous offer. We accept. And I will, immediately begin calling for people to start moving it. And we'll ask, kind of as it's happening real quick if you could tell me
Yes.
where this, where to go to for the visitation, the master of the visitation, I think you call them.
When you go into the city, you saw the stairs and the ramps, the sets that go up. If you follow that up, you'll reach the castle. There's the servants' village, and then there's the area of visitations. There'll be a bell there that you can ring to summon the master.
Thank you very much.
And he hands you a scrip of paper, and he says, if you take this to Hosk will give you the payment in whatever coinage or trade script that you require.
Much appreciated.
Oh, appreciate it here. Thank you so much. It had been a pleasure dealing with you. I hope that you'll come again. And if you bring goods of this quality again, will certainly be appreciated.
Has Tassos come around?
Where is Tassos? Has Tassos followed Threadless, or is Tassos here amongst this, or is Tassos doing something else?
I mean, they're on the ship. I don't know if they'd be directly involved in negotiating over book beetles.
So yeah, you will see this gentleman shake hands with Captain Ransom, kind of sees you. You're a striking figure, I think is the most generous way I could put that. So there is this moment where it kind of hesitates and then bows to you and goes to head off. And you've got a script for a good chunk of money, Ransom. Let's do Threadless. Then let's check in with Tassos. Then let's have the Evedro scholarship conversation. So definitely, again, you are dressed in brilliant clothing and colors. So I think there are kind of people on the other pirate vessels that you pass by are kind of leaning out and staring and trying to gauge whether you're someone that ought to be picked up for ransom or kidnapped or something of that sort. But
I'm fearless.
Yeah. They'll kind of pull back when they see you go up to the ship of Rudel. The gangplank is down, and his men from the night before are still enamored of you and your captain and your crew, and so they are the soul of generosity and kindness as they bring you up onto the ship and treat you like a peer.
Excellent. Yes, I'll have breakfast with them. I wait to meet their amazing seamstress. I ask after the vests, like, what does it take to merit one of these? And essentially whatever the rules are for this stuff.
Well, and they'll get the seamstress up there, older woman. She's clearly been on multiple ships. She sits and listens to you, and then she begins to kind of do that. And you're very used to this. Older women picking out, trying to see how much you actually know, whether you've actually taken your lessons in or not, that kind of thing. And I think you are incredibly competent on this score, right?
Oh, I would say so, yes.
So
all arts domestic, yes.
So after a bit, she will stop with the kind of the poking and pinpricks and prodding and begin to talk shop with you.
Okay. I mean, there's a certain point at which, all of those threads, she goes, well, when I made this, and I made, like everything she's wearing is something she's made herself. So
yeah, she'll talk shop and trade secrets with you. And essentially she explains that these are are dyes that picked up from the native lands, and some other places she'll tell you about where she got each of them. Again, certain colors are more expensive. It's harder to do really hold fast red and purple. She'll say around here, azure and ochre are highly valued in the library. So we sometimes will bring those dyes with us. Not so much green anymore, but we do that. And all of these paintings, the things that are on the vest, these are all marks of accomplishment for that crewman. This many ports landed in, this many passages made, fought in this many melees, those kinds of things. We have a whole system, a whole logbook for those. Each ship has its own codes.
And I'm very curious about those. So she would like to see her do some painting on the silk, like how she does it, what the brushes are like. And I think she'll also have a gift for her.
What did you bring?
It's essentially something that she made herself, and it's for when you use silk, the edges have to be rolled. You can't hem or anything like that, or it all unravels. So it takes rolling, and it's a very painstaking thing. But Threadless had created a metal rod that sort of breaks into half. It's actually got it's magnetic.
Mm-hmm.
So you put that in and you roll around that, do your stitching, and you can push it down as you go. It speeds up the speed of rolling like a lot, and it also makes it much more uniform.
She will realize the value of this and be impressed. And she will say, you have gifted me. You are a gift. You are a friend of the ship. Allow me to paint you a bandana.
Ooh, I am most amenable to that. I'm just greedy to see what she does.
Yeah, and essentially you'll sit there for an hour while she takes cloth and sews it up, and she will paint it with essentially marks showing that you are a friend and ally to this vessel, and with the essentially some of the symbols of Arwen Shah. So if you were to meet another vessel of a crew from Arwen Shah, you would that would be recognized.
All right. And then I have to know who the enemies are, so I can get into a fight too.
Yes.
I'm just as pleased with that part of it. So
yes, the coffee nation of Kajafir is probably their biggest rival.
Oh, the coffee people, of course.
Yes. Tassos, what are you up to this morning? In the bright light of day.
I'm not sure. I'm sort of interested in the library stuff.
I think they're going up there eventually. You want to check around town? You want to check on the other crew? You want to talk to the crocodiles? What do you want to do?
Do not talk to the crocodile.
No, I'm not great at speaking crocodiles. It's all these animal languages get weird. I don't know. I guess maybe wandering around town.
So as you are walking around there, you will be approached by this woman, kind of pale skin, white hair, some face paint on her, and she will say, are you on the vessel that came in last night? Clearly an outsider, not a local.
Currently, I'm on the street, but I came from there.
Oh, that's what I mean. You take my meaning then. I heard that you have a scholar or two amongst your number.
Depends on the time of day. Mornings it's usually 1, and evenings it's at least 1.5.
Well, that is something that would merit some explanation if you wish, but I have the sense that you are more of a cryptic fellow.
He says cryptically.
I would ask the scholars that you have with you, do they have the paperwork? Are they going to be entering into the library?
Of course they'll be entering into the library.
Then perhaps we can, maybe you can help me and I can pay you something.
What would you have to pay?
I have money. I have documents. I have information.
Yes, information.
Shall I tell you what I'm asking?
Yes, it'll help me gauge the price.
Yes. I came here to do research, but I do not have the papers to gain entry past the House of Visitation. Scholars who have the proper paperwork can bring in a staff with them when they go inside. I would ask that I be brought in as staff. And so I'm allowed to do the researches that I wish to do. In exchange, I can pay quite handsomely.
Yes. And that's all you intend? Research? And then leaving?
I would, yes.
No violence, subterfuge, sabotage, theft?
At this point, I couldn't say that I had that in mind.
These things rather murky for the future, don't you think?
I prefer to leave things a little bit more to improvisation, but my initial plan right now is research.
Interesting. All right. Tell me about your last nightmare.
Mostly it is about being late in places where that is important. If you take my meaning, that is a theme in my nightmares. Not being able to get to someplace on time, things running out of time, being called on to tests and the time runs out, that sort of thing.
No specific situation.
I hardly remember my dreams.
Challenge. All right. The Tessos will reach out and just grab that fear of like timing and
boom.
Just
you hit against
turn it up a
something,
little.
and for a second you see this mask manifest on her face made of crystal, and she takes a step back. You don't get anything from her. Whatever this object is, whatever this device, it stops you. And she says, "I'm sorry, I think there's a misunderstanding."
Oh, yes. Yes, there was. You're much more interesting than I thought you were. You should definitely come with me to the ship.
I think not, good sir.
Don't you want into the library?
I will find my way in, sir, but not with your aid.
I assure you I am genuine and that I can get you in.
I'm sure you are.
But I have have no intentions of harming or stealing from you at all.
But you may improvise as the situation permits. So let us simply say that we will both step away from the situation.
Very well. I'm sure we'll be seeing you soon.
Of that, there can be no doubt. Professor Vedro, you will find Tintevi. He is writing, recopying some of his notes and observations from the area. He's been talking to some locals and getting some local lore and gossip. And he will say, oh, Evedra.
It's time to go to the library.
Is it? Is it time to go to the library?
It is time. We are required to go. They need us to go right now.
Do they?
It's yes. You are wasting time. It's just like you. This is why I could never survive in academia. You never have a sense of urgency.
So I had the most interesting conversation with some of the locals this morning.
I don't care.
About what's required to get into the library.
Obviously, it's not intelligence. Are we going or not?
Well, I think I'll wait for the rest of the group, Ransom and Tassos and Threadless. But you go ahead, and we'll meet you there. Unless there's a particular word you'd like to use.
Now?
That is not it.
Academics, you are so arrogant. Have you not a kind or generous bone in your body? What is it that you study anyway? Is it
sociopolitical theory?
Right. Yes. Yeah. The social sciences, because you couldn't cut it.
Please continue to speak, Professor.
We do this at night. It would mean a lot to me and the crew if we could go to the library now with you.
You're so close to getting it. You're just so close.
Would feel some modicum of gratitude if I were allowed to accompany you to the library.
I'm sure you would. I am certain.
No.
Again, so close, but you have once again missed the mark. Pretend you're a human being interacting with another human being.
That is rich coming from you. Please.
Then certainly I will be glad to use the paperwork that I have for my station to get all of us in. Of course, you understand that I will have to list you as a research assistant.
Can you just say senior research assistant?
If I remember, I will. But I'm in the social sciences, so things just go in one ear and out the other.
I'm going to need some of that grog.
Ransom, is there anything you want to do before I kind of bring the crew back together to head up to the library?
No, I'm very chipperly getting the getting all the stuff out so that they can be transported away. I will, I suppose, try to flit over quickly and do the exchange into our account.
Oh, yeah.
I like getting that handled so that Huss doesn't think we're just on the dole.
No, he'll take the set aside surety. He'll hand you off the money in a couple of different currencies, easy exchanged things. He says, are you planning to stay a few more days?
Yes, actually. It was nice of you to convey to the library that we might be interested.
No, it's my job. You said you had something to sell, and that's what I do.
That is fantastic service, sir. And I think we may attempt to go and visit. I have a scholar amongst my crew.
I'll check in with your second Butters, is it?
Yes.
And see if there's anything supplies or materials that you'll need. We'll get that arranged.
And we will be resupplying up. It's no telling how far our journeys will take us.
Absolutely. Well, then I hope to see you again, sir.
And you.
So we'll pull the group back together. Sherry, tell the others what this bandana looks like that you have when you return.
So I think one of the things is that because I'm a friend of the ship, I don't that ship. I don't actually, there are no like ship insignia on it so much, except for the name of the ship on it. What there is the azure of like waves, like for the sea. Essentially a kind of the weave that means generosity and trade going through there, and essentially just the sort of like around the border there's like a thickness of the border and the times of encounters, and it's just sort of like there's room for more to be added to the scarf. That's the thing that's kind of remarkable about it, if that makes any sense. So it's like really well painted, but there's a border that goes along it, and it's about medium width, and there's just the one, but clearly like if encountered them again or other ships of the fleet, that could be added to.
Excellent.
And there's some purple on it, so which is as well, because that was what I came asking about.
So all of you will gather. You will see that Vedru maybe looks a little maybe more subdued. What's his mood here when you gather with the group? Whereas Tim Tevi looks very pleased with himself.
I think I'm resigned to what needs to be done, and I sort of keep saying over, this is for the knowledge, it's for the knowledge, it's for the learning, like it's a little mantra that I have to say.
Okay.
And Tintevi will say, so we're going up to the library. I have my papers with me that should gain us entree past where they keep the most just the visitors, and allow us to go in, and hopefully we'll be able to examine the stacks, or at least work with a librarian there. We will. I'll have to list all of you as my research staff, but that should be able to get us in. Is everybody ready to head up there?
Yes.
All right. So you all will go and walk up those flights of stone steps that kind of go off on the side. You can see they've got ropes and sledges that are pulling goods up the sort of the flats beside, and they've got some mechanisms that clearly run that.
Ooh, mechanisms.
Yes.
Stop to look at them.
And you will go up, and from down below, it seemed the castle city seemed pretty big. When you get up closer, realize that it's larger than you could quite realize, that there were other things that were kind of hidden by the horizon that go on, and galleries and segments. It again, like multiple buildings kind of jammed together into a city castle.
Wow.
And you will come to a village, unlike the sort of the wooden structures down below. These are stone houses. They have thatched roofs and with reeds and things like that, and bakeries and other things. And it's very clear that these are the staff, where the staff live. That kind of, you have the sense that they must go in and out in shifts and things to that, and clearly quite a bit of raw goods and things that are stored here. They have very plain black and gray uniforms with, it looks like there may be some kind of markings or things that some of them wear, maybe to denote divisions of labor or something. You're uncertain. But you'll move past those towards this enormous wall, and a building that's kind of comes out of the front of it, a big gate, and a building there. And when you kind of walk in, it has a little bit of a monastery feel, like monastic cells. And you can see that there's some tables and things, and there are a number of people who are there who have been brought like a single book, and they are copying it over. These look like people that have come here to try and get information, to try and get a particular book, to try and read things, but they've not been permitted inside. So they're stuck here in this hall of visitation, stuck here just having to transcribe things and having like one thing delivered. And if it's not exactly what they wanted, they have to make another request and have that back, and so on. And they're provided essentially bread and water and a cot and a small chamber here. And many of them look haggard and worn, and they look all like at all of you beseechingly as you go on. But like if one starts to like maybe stand up to approach, you can see that there's some kind of warden for the visitations who kind of steps forward and cracks this stick and drives them back to their desk. And you will be walked along until you come to this big, heavy, round door. One of those big stone round doors, a round doorway where, you know, it's like 30 feet tall. And it clearly, there's a mechanism to roll it out of the way. And there's this incredibly tall 6.5 foot gentleman in, you know, long clothing with a beaked nose and little glasses on. And he will say, "I am the warden of visitations." And Tintefa will step forward and say, "I am a scholar from Lonsena, and I have brought my documentation, my degrees, and my letters of reference. And these are my research staff, my research assistants, including my senior research assistant, Professor Vedra." He says, "I don't need the names of your assistants." And he'll proper seals. Yes. All right, this seems in order. Allow me to explain. You'll be entering into the library. You will be allowed to go to certain stacks. You'll be assigned an assassin to each of you if you are separate, or one if you are in a group. They will ensure that you do not go to where you are not supposed to go, but they will also guide you to where you need to go. As honored scholastic guests, you will dine in the Great Hall with the leadership, and you will be permitted to attend any events that are occurring in the facility. Your food, lodgings, all of that will be provided for as an honorarium. Do you have any questions? Good. You'll be permitted to leave after 3 days if you wish.
Can I add a little detail?
Yes.
I wonder if they give us kind of ribbons to indicate our various ranks.
Yeah, absolutely. Big golden ribbon with markings on it for Tintavi, which you'll take.
Right.
And then there are a bunch of like second place blue ribbons.
Right.
I asked for the third place red ribbon because it matches my outfit.
That's usually only used for like servants.
Oh, all right. I'll just make a new outfit.
I'm like, surely it doesn't really matter. And maybe you could give me a gold ribbon. I mean, where's the harm, really? Who
turns to you. Certainly. May I see your paperwork?
I mean, I don't have my papers here with me.
Blue ribbon it is then.
But I mean, there's so many gold ribbons.
Here is your ribbon. He takes it out from a box that there are tons of gold and blue and red ribbons in. Here is your blue ribbon. Everything in its place, and a place for everything.
Are there any events coming up in the next few days?
I believe that the moon ball is happening tomorrow evening.
A ball?
Yes.
That's a significant event, isn't it?
It is. I do not. Says that is not my not my area.
Oh, so then I couldn't dance with you.
No, I am the warden of the visitations. I have to hold my office here. See, I have a gold ribbon to mark it out.
And it matches what you're wearing.
Yes, it does. And he will hand those ribbons out. And then he closes the box, secures it, locks the box, steps away from the locked box, and moves over to turn the thing and open up the door.
Yes,
Professor Avedra.
Can I sense the mechanism that's in there?
Oh yeah, it's a huge, like
counterweight,
unwieldy rolling thing there.
Oh, awesome! So,
Avedra.
So excited.
That box is just sitting there unattended, locked, but with those ribbons in them. He's walked away to get the door open.
So, out of character note, I noticed that Tyler's character, being the god of theft, already had a means for dealing with traps.
Okay.
I didn't want to step on his toes, and I wanted to lean more into what my character was doing. So I swapped out the gift.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So are you looking at ransom like?
Literally many of my companions have gifts that could help me out. Like Threadless could change my blue ribbon, probably, but I wouldn't expect any of them to. So
ransom
needs to tame his ego.
There is a box of what are very clearly valuable items there.
He has just turned his back on the locked box, and that almost seems like a challenge.
It does seem like an invitation, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I think I will
Who did this on my behalf?
Well, I have a feeling that we may need to split up and have greater coverage anyway. So I will move over and sort of subtly try to pick the lock real quick.
Oh, no. You touch it and the lock goes, would you like me to open? Please, sir. And it pops open. Like, yes, that's what I always wanted to be, is open. And then the box is somehow open. And then somehow those ribbons have run up your sleeve into your inner pockets.
Well, I think I'm just going to touch 2 of the gold ones.
Oh, yeah.
And poof, they disappear.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're gone. And then your hand comes away and the lock goes, I'll go back to where I was. Thank you, sir. Click, and clicks back into place. And at that point, the round door has finished rolling open, and you step into a ludicrously big hall, absurdly large. You know, I don't know if you can see the scale of behind me, quite, of the people and the arches here. That's the kind of scale we're talking about. It just goes on and on. And when you step in, like your footsteps ought to echo, but it's almost too big. You will come in and step in, and then the door kind of rolls closed behind you, and it's very quiet, and you're very alone.
Oh, yes. By the way, if anybody sees a light-haired woman in a crystal mask, let me know. I'm supposed to meet her here.
Really?
Made a friend?
We both look very skeptical.
I can make friends if I wanted to.
Did you?
I didn't say that I did, but I'm not saying that I didn't. It could have been a meet cute. You don't know.
Should we take a wager?
Let's take a 5 for a quick bio, and then we'll come back. Okay. Restart. So you'll be standing there, kind of looking around, realizing that there's not any markings on directions or things like that. When you will see come from one of the halls, you see a gentleman dressed nicely, maybe late 20s, fairly fit, has some books with him, and he sees all of you, and he will come walking at a steady pace, and he will say, "Did the Master of Visitations just let you through?"
Indeed, yes.
He's probably sent for someone, but that could be an hour or two before they show up. So why don't I take you up to one of the utility chambers and maybe get you settled. My name is Kunal.
Are you associated with the library?
I am of the Azure.
Ah.
Should we leave a note for the appointed guide?
No, we will put a panic in him. That's a good thing. Little area of fear for the servants who don't get moving as fast as they should.
All right.
Oh, perfect. We should get going.
So are you an assassin guide or are you another person who's researching here? She sort of like goes to walk right next to him.
He goes, I'm an assassin librarian. I am of the Azure Assassins. There are 3 that remain, the Azure, the Ochre, and there is the Verd, but there remains only one of them.
I don't know the history. I'm not from around here.
Ah,
I'll get a book about the assassins with the different colors.
there are some histories of assassins that are here amongst. Not many get written, not as many as would otherwise. To tell you, my order, the Order of Azure, we kill people.
Ooh. What do the other people?
The Order of the Ochre, they kill magical things, spirits, divinities, that sort of thing.
And then the Verd?
They were the killer of things.
Ooh. Dismantlers?
Of a sort, abstract or concrete. The organizations, nations, that kind of thing.
Yes, I'm reading some of those books. And I look at Tinta.
In hopes of doing this before, say, Guy would have noticed, I did move up towards Evedro and kind of get beside him, and I will reach down and with supernatural speed, my fingers a little shadowy as they do it, put a different ribbon on him and boink away his blue one.
Okay. You'll look down at Vedro. Pleased to see the golden glisten there in the light.
Yeah, there is a big part of me that wants to rub this into Devi's face. I don't know how I can resist, but I know that would maybe blow our cover. So
Kunal will take you upstairs, up another set of stairs, up yet another set of stairs, and then across a walkway between buildings, and then into a hall up here. And he'll say, I know that the rooms off from this utility area are unoccupied. I'll ring a bell and I'll have a certain servant come and turn everything out. But until then, there are 6 rooms along that western wall. So you may, I think, but we should probably check actually. And he'll walk you over there to check. Nice rooms, everything covered in dust here. Like in that long walk, you saw no one else.
Really? But it's a huge place.
Yes. And he will say, so set yourselves up here. I've rung for a servant. They'll make sure that there's a person here at all times to see to this. There's a bathhouse down that walkway. I believe it's functional. I will check and make sure on that, make sure that the water is running to it. But you should be able to use that for your libations and such.
My good man, when was the last time you had scholars come and visit this library?
We have scholars come all the time, 1 or 2 every couple of months.
Doesn't seem like these rooms have been used very much.
There used to be more scholars. There used to be more assassins.
Not a lot of business in the killing of people or magic or institutions.
He stops and he looks at you and he says, business moves to fill the time that you have available for it. We have our hands full.
Okay. It sounds like some assassin wisdom. Where are the stacks?
The stacks are in various places. What you will need to do is there are runners that know the ways around the stack, know which ones are available, know the coding system. I'll make sure that they are sent up to help you with that. If you wish to go into the stacks themselves, you'll need a brother or a sister with you, just to ensure your safety. Some of the buildings quite old, and to make sure that you don't go where you're not allowed to go.
Is there anything that marks where we're not allowed to go? So if you get a little bit turned around, you don't go by accident.
Well, you'll have a brother or a sister with you, so they will inform you. That is how you will know.
Well, that's nice. All right.
Which is to say, don't go wandering around by yourselves. I say this knowing full well that many scholars do. I say this knowing full well that there are bodies hidden throughout this library of those who lost their way, of those who went into an area where they were not supposed to be, or those that simply fell down a flight of stairs and no one has found them. So, in the spirit of that, I hope that that does not happen to any of you. What's your subject that you are researching, if I may ask? And he turns to Avedro, because Avedro's talked, and he sees the gold ribbon on Avedro. And Tintevi's like, what is your subject?
We have encountered a force that is threatening, if not our small corner, or if not the whole world, then certainly our small corner of it. And after defeating one of the minions of this power, we thought it would be best to try and understand what we are up against.
Well, certainly if you sketch out some keywords, I'm sure the runners can help pull up what you need, if it's historical or mythological or whatnot. If you're looking to kill something like that, we can certainly provide you with a consultant.
That might be good.
He says, well, I need to return to my studies, but I will see you at the dining hall this evening.
Will you be going to the ball?
Yes. Yes.
Excellent.
Seems to hesitate, but yes. And they will get you set up in here, and then he heads off. You probably will notice that there are, kind of followed him along, have followed you along. There are a couple of cats, pure white. They're kind of watching from the corners.
Really?
Yes.
Do they stay or go with him?
They stay and watch.
They're watching us, or they're watching me?
They're watching you.
Oh, I say, Tassos, am I dreaming?
Don't think so.
I know I'm not dreaming. I just
Look over at the cats. Are they afraid of anything in particular?
Not of you.
Fucking cats. So Tassos will give them a general glare, and then they'll turn back to the table as Kunal and say, so, shall we go exploring the stacks?
Are the cats intelligent, or as far as we know, do we have any idea?
You have no idea. Tassos heard a
Don't
rumor
be
about
ridiculous,
this.
Kunal says. They're just cats.
I'm one who's always interested in exploring a place. But might we not at least have a moment to get the lay of the land before we do so?
Well, you obviously can't get the lay of anything without a guide. You can't go anywhere without a guide.
A thought here, and I will bow to our more scholarly and, quite honestly, more interested in reading books than me. But our primary goal is to discover the force behind that bastard we met in Lysandra.
Yes,
right?
the dark forest power that puts seeds in people.
Right, and also has affected our young charges. That seems a rather complicated bit of information to find out, probably in several locations.
Yeah, maybe, or all in one. Maybe they just have a, if you're fighting some sort of divinity, go here.
We got a pretty clear warning, but do we wish to ignore it and go forth and explore on our own, friends?
Tassos, you know where you're going? I mean,
It's a library. How hard could it be to find things? We have a professor.
I have already started walking away and going into the stacks.
Perfect. See, that guy gets it. Go following after Vedra.
And I think actually we're at a place here that we're kind of setting off onto the next stage of this. So I think we're going to stop here. So we can kind of start out fresh. And so I can introduce a whole host of NPCs of these assassins that pictures are already in the book for this. And so we can have the Assassin's Prom. So we will get to that. Just to give you a sense as you move around here, this place is too big. There could never be enough people to fill this. In some ways, it'd be just absurd. But even given that, you're guessing that there are maybe 100, 200 people in this place. And a lot of those are servants, at least half.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question. We know that there used to be gods and they died or were murdered or whatever. Does this look like one of the old places of one of the gods? Is this a great divine library? Or is this a human undertaking?
Parts of this could certainly be the wreckage from various divine libraries. The leftovers, the bits that fell apart, things that maybe like subscribes to like, and they just kind of fell from the heavens into pieces together here. Maybe there was something already massive, a temple to some kind of knowledge or orders or things, and the other parts fell and attached themselves to it. And of course, it's divine, so you really can't see the weld spot. So you can just know when you look at it from the outside that it all doesn't quite fit.
I kind of like this place.
The other thing I think that you will realize as you are here, and I think probably it's Evedro and Tassos that will feel this, is the vastness of this place as it goes on. There's just like a little shiver at the back of your nape of your neck, and you realize that it may not be active, it may not be open, it may not be even accessible anymore, but there's at least some kind of remnant of one of the night roads, those roads that tear down through all of the divine heavens that break into the real world. There's a remnant of that somewhere in this place. Sound good?
I mean, this is a giant, unknowable, haunted library filled with assassins and deadly traps. I think it sounds like the best place Tassos has ever been.
Absolutely. And a prom. There's a prom, don't forget.
Ready for the prom.
And a road to hell.
And a road to hell.
That goes with saying with the prom. So, you know, you're going to have.
Everybody should take a point of experience.
Okay. Oh, and we like went to 0 because we had 4 and then now.
No, you don't. It doesn't reset.
Oh,
Carrie.
okay. Keep counting up.
You're thinking
Okay.
a different kind of game.
I am thinking of a different kind
yeah,
of game.
so you should
I'm
be
sorry for thinking of another kind of game.
You should be at 5 then.
Okay, thank you.
Would you all mind doing a quick stars wishes, especially so I get a sense of what like you'd like to see for next time? Patrick, can I start with you?
Sure. This was fun. I like this weird town. The whole cat subplot has me unnaturally attracted to it. I absolutely love the thing of just like, oh, and here's this ubiquitous common thing that is totally illegal. You dirty, awful people don't have any right. That was really fun. Dan, I really enjoyed the continuing exploration of Avedro's hubris, but you took it in a very different direction where you were like willing to play through him being like humiliated and afflicted by his hubris rather than just reveling in it. And that was really, really fun.
Yep. Thanks.
Let's see. Wishes, obviously the moon ball sounds ridiculously stupidly fun. I'm very much looking forward to getting into some like totally unnecessary trouble or danger in this place by wandering unguided with Avedro. Yeah, I like I want to see more of the little mysteries that are dangling in front of me, jingling their shiny little bits with the cats and the crystal mask lady who's supposed to be my friend, because I can have friends. It can happen.
Maybe you can dance with her at the ball. I mean, if you could get her in here.
Awesome. Sherry, stars, wishes?
It was yeah, I mean, Patrick is right. It was all awesome. The little stories, the kind of getting the feel of the sea town, and then going up to this strange, weird library. And then there's the crocodile temple at the head of the river, which is clearly full of all the stuff that we need in order to go forward. So, you know, it's just, yeah, I think we're going to be here a little while, and I'm looking forward to, you know, lots of mosquito bites and maybe some dances. That's it.
Wishes?
I really like this whole like assassin thing and the orders and the things that they know and do, and I'm like kind of really curious about figuring that out, particularly because we do have a little touch of the divine to ourselves, you know, so one could say that some of them would be a threat to us, and yet they would make fine allies as well. So
all right. Dan, stars, wishes?
I really have a new appreciation for quarterlies, because I feel like we were mostly world building and character developing. Like there was just not a lot of plot, which was great. I just loved getting to know this town and getting to watch us interact with mortals, and how quickly Ransom makes friends, and how enthusiastic Threadless was to meet another cloth person, seamstress. I loved those moments. I just found them endearing, and I more than most other games, I feel like I've got a really clear picture in my head of this setting too, which is really really nice. Um, I'm with Sherry. Like, I feel like we could just stay on this island for a while. There's so many. It's like going to Disneyland. Like, there's just so many rides to choose from. I uh, I want. What do I really want though? I think my biggest wish is for Evedro to have a little bit of a moment in this library where he feels finally at home. Like he's been constantly kicked out of places because he's a jerk. And maybe he feels a connection or a kinship with the knowledge in this library.
Nice. And Tyler.
I thought this was excellent. I thought you made this. I love the town. You made it so interesting. You had people that were fantastic to deal with, and the way you described seeing it. I liked seeing this little town run, or maybe not so little town run. Then getting up there to this library, which was neatly organized, and all of it just so well painted out for us. So that was fantastic. I am amazed. When I made the character, I had this thought of, boy, I'm going to be this reckless guy. And by true nature of being somewhat conservative as a player, I am just tagging along with three of the most reckless people there are. So I get to this sort of like, he just told us one thing. Just stay here for a moment. But I got to throw myself in there too, and because exploring is my thing. And so I'm the temptations are lovely, and so I'm looking forward to us going off and getting ourselves into trouble. That's going to be tons of fun. I mentioned earlier, Dan, I thought that your interaction with the other scholar was phenomenal. So good, so good. Sherry, I loved you going over and what's up? Where'd you get this? How did this happen? And then being so willing to, oh yes, I'll be there, and go to the ship and meet with people and display, to impress and kind of be in your element there, talking with this ornery old woman and showing, how good you are at what you do. And then just everybody is so solid at their interactions. And Patrick, I loved seeing you encounter someone weird and intriguing to Tassos.
Nice.
Yeah.
And having a moment of being thwarted where Tassos is just so casual about going into people's minds and screwing with them, and having someone that goes, wait a minute. And that was really good. Lol. It's a brave GM that does a full, nope, sorry, I'm out of here. You are clearly a danger. I am not going to deal with you anymore. That was very well done.
Fun.
Wishes. I'm looking forward to finding out what the assassins are like. I like this idea that there are fewer of them. I am super intrigued about why these cats are here. Clearly something is up with that, and I am all about trying to figure that out. And seeing the neat weirdness of this library. I'm really fascinated with what you're building there. So I suppose those are my wishes, because honestly, I am happy to follow those who are better at studying and be there to do my special bits, even though I am definitely not a scholar.
I'm hoping to give you plenty of stuff to look into and explore, and perhaps even thieve. We'll see. Thank you all very much. I'm going to stop the recording.
Well, you didn't do your stars and wishes.
I don't usually do stars and wishes. Here's the thing is, I love NPCs. I love putting a ton of NPCs on the table. I love setting up a nice place and having people achieve a chance to figure out what the day-to-day is of it. And I like when you've got two contrasting things. So there was I like that all of you dug into that stuff. I thought Dan, the interaction between you and Tintavi was dynamite. I like Tassa's the way you played when she did that pullback and revealed that there's just something more. I thought that was really well done. Of course, Sherry, I know when I put cloth and materials and stuff out there, you're going to just absolutely be on it. And I've been reading that history of textiles, so that helps a little bit. And the singing thing, that was dynamite, Tyler. Like what a great way to pull out some of this stuff. Sometimes you look at these abilities and you kind of like, how are they going to fit it? But that was a great use of a miracle. It was a solid thing. So yeah, I just want to have a chance to keep rolling out weird stuff and have you guys fuck around with it. I think that's basically my job.
Actually, I did want to point out one other wish. I really want to see Tassos interact with Crystal Lady again. Like that was, if we, of all the loose ends, that's the one I'm most interested in.
Okay. I have put it down and I've circled it.
Excellent.
All right. Now I'm going to stop the recording.